My name is Dr. Patrick Gentempo, and this is an open statement to the chiropractic profession worldwide. I will be making some comments that many will find to be quite inflammatory. So I would like to say from the outset that my comments here are directed to positions, not people. Please do not confuse my critical statements against what I consider to be pathological ideas as personal attacks against any particular individuals. Recently, 6 chiropractic institutions, 5 from Europe and 1 from South Africa, had signed a position statement and revealed it at the World Federation of Chiropractic Convention in Greece. This position statement and its contents should not go unnoticed, and I'm calling for a significant global response of condemnation of this document and its implications. I do this as a matter of conscience in the protection and advancement of a profession that I love and have served for over 30 years. There are 7 enumerated assertions in this position statement, most of which I find to be meaningless rhetoric. However, planted among these are 2 positions that I should like to address as I find them to be infused with toxins of a malicious agenda. Before I get to these 2 items, let me share with you the preamble to the 7 enumerated positions. I'm quoting. Whereas the welfare of the patient is paramount, and whereas chiropractic education should be of the highest quality and founded on the principles of evidence-based care, and whereas curricula should be responsive to changing patient, societal, and community needs and expectations within a modern healthcare system, we, the undersigned chiropractic educational institutions, state as follows. Now, below this preamble, item number 5 states, and I quote, "The teaching of vertebral subluxation complex as a vitalistic construct that claims that it is the cause of disease is unsupported by evidence. Its inclusion in a modern chiropractic curriculum in anything other than historical context is therefore inappropriate and unnecessary." End quote. Further, item number 7 states, and I'm quoting, "Practice styles promoting preset high-volume chiropractic care models as wellness care, which may contribute to inappropriate patient dependence, compromise patient confidentiality, or require repeated exposure to ionizing radiation are not part of an undergraduate chiropractic curriculum. Students should be taught to recognize that such approaches are not acceptable in terms of the best interest of patients or the chiropractic profession." End quote. These proclamations amount to an absurd view of reality that is built on intellectual quicksand. For example, they ascribe that what is best for the patient is evidence-based care, but give no indication as to what they propose to be acceptable evidence. Such directives, in part, are the moral equivalent of academic fascism. Further, they give no indication as to what they consider to be high volume, nor do they give any indication as to what they mean by wellness. And with regard to vertebral subluxation, the statement foists upon us the package deal of it being a vitalistic concept that is the cause of disease. Trying to pigeonhole the concept in such a way is truly an intellectual sleight of hand. Either they don't understand the well-developed, scientifically based attributes of subluxation, or they do and would like to avoid the substantive truth of its constructs. There is a metaphorical book burning going on here. Ignored in these statements are the numerous papers published in index peer-reviewed journals, textbooks published by mainstream medical publishers, curriculum taught at prestigious chiropractic colleges, published international guidelines for chiropractic care, and significant expert opinion of tens of thousands of practicing chiropractors worldwide. And let me assert that I have no tolerance for academic snobbery that would try to suggest that mere field practitioners who see real patients every day don't have the competence or expertise to opine on such matters. Personally, I have co-developed technology for the reliable and objective assessment of vertebral subluxation, and it is used by thousands of chiropractors across 6 continents. Further, I teach postgraduate courses in subluxation for multiple accredited chiropractic institutions. It is irrational for any academic body or peer group to simply ignore all this. Next, let us take a walk down epistemology lane. Epistemology is the branch of philosophy that addresses the issue of evidence and how one might derive it. Many erroneously assert that true evidence, or the gold standard for evidence in healthcare-related realms, is the randomized controlled clinical trial, or RTC for short. And although this is one method of acquiring data, it is far from a complete epistemological approach. The literature is replete with books and articles about the shortcomings of RTCs. A favorite of mine is an article published in the British Medical Journal, authored by Gordon Smith and Jill Pell, entitled "Parachute Used to Prevent Major Death and Trauma Related to Gravitational Challenge, a Systematic Review of Randomized Controlled Trials." I think the conclusion of this article says it all. Let me quote it here for you. Quote, "As with many interventions intended to prevent ill health, the effectiveness of parachutes has not been subjected to rigorous evaluation by using randomized controlled trials. Advocates of evidence-based medicine have criticized the adoption of interventions evaluated using only observational data. We think that everyone might benefit if the most radical protagonist of evidence-based medicine organized and participated in a double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled crossover trial of the parachute," end quote. A brilliant commentary. I could not have said it any better. In summary, let me state this very clearly. There is a significant amount of evidence to support vertebral subluxation as a valid clinical entity, and as an aside, it also exists explicitly as a legal entity in chiropractic regulatory law in the United States. Further, there is compelling positive evidence to support the long-term use of chiropractic care in a maintenance, corrective, or wellness model. Now, some may not like the evidence, as it seems to be an inconvenient truth for them, but no one can maintain any semblance of credibility by trying to contend there is no evidence. That is simply a lie. As a final word, if the model proposed by this ill-conceived position paper were to become the new chiropractic profession, I shudder to think what fate would have been suffered by the millions who have had their lives completely transformed by the benefits of subluxation-oriented chiropractic care. And further, I cry for the countless millions of people moving forward that will have the doors of hope for a better future through chiropractic shut in their face and locked forever. No more will there be parents crying tears of joys in your office because of the health breakthrough their child had in your care. No more distinct and separate vision for how to achieve health assurance for the families of your community. No more quality of life care for those considered by our medical counterparts to be terminal. Chiropractic just gets absorbed into a Borg-like system and loses any particular distinction or aesthetic. No, people of conscience who know better will not stand by idly for such irrational madness. There are moments in life when it comes time to take a stand, and my dear colleague, I dare say, this is one such moment.